Aunt Jemima is a brand of pancake mix, syrup, and other breakfast foods owned by the Quaker Oats Company of Chicago, a subsidiary of PepsiCo. The trademark dates back to 1893, although the Aunt Jemima pancake mix debuted in 1889. The Quaker Oats Company first registered the Aunt Jemima trademark in April 1937. The character appears to have been a Reconstruction-era addition to that cast. Following the killing of George Floyd and subsequent protests, on June 17, 2020, Quaker Oats announced that the Aunt Jemima brand would be rebranded and renamed in order to make progress toward racial equality. St. Joseph Gazette editor Chris L. Ruck, of St. Joseph, Missouri, and his friend Charles G. Underwood bought a flour mill in 1888. Ruck and Underwood's Pearl Milling Company faced a glutted flour market, so they sold their excess flour as a ready-made pancake mix in white paper sacks with a trade name which Arthur F. Marquette dubbed the first ready mix 8.9 1889 formula for Aunt Jemima mix: 100 pounds 45 kilograms hard winter wheat, 100 pounds 45 kilograms corn flour, 7 1/2 of a pound 3.4 kilograms BWT phosphates from Provident Chemical Street, Eloise, to 3/4 of a pound 1.2 kilograms bicarbonate soda, 3 pounds 1.4 kilograms salt. However, Ruck and Underwood were unable to make the project work, so they sold their company to the Randolph Truett Davis Milling Company in St. Joseph, Missouri, in 1890. The Davis Milling Company was renamed Aunt Jemima Mills in 1913. The Quaker Oats Company bought the brand in 1926, and registered the Aunt Jemima trademark in 1937. Quaker Oats introduced Aunt Jemima syrup in 1966. This was followed by Aunt Jemima Butterlight syrup in 1985 and Butterrich syrup in 1991. Aunt Jemima frozen foods were licensed out to Aurora Foods in 1996, which in 2004 was absorbed into Pinnacle Foods Corporation. Aunt Jemima is based on the common mammy stereotype, the character in minstrel shows in the late 1800s. Her skin is dark and dewy, with a pearly white smile. She wears a scarf over her head and a polka-dot dress with a white collar, similar to the common attire and physical features of mammy characters throughout history. 11 The character named Aunt Jemima appeared on the stage in Washington, D.C., as early as 1864. 12 The inspiration for Aunt Jemima was Billy Kirsan's American-style minstrelsy/vaudeville song Old Aunt Jemima, written in 1875. Ruck reportedly saw the minstrel show featuring the Old Aunt Jemima song in the fall of 1889, presented by blackface performers identified by Arthur F. Marquette as Baker and Farrell. 8 Marquette recounts that the actor playing Aunt Jemima wore an apron and kerchief, and Ruck appropriated this Aunt Jemima character to market the Pearl Milling Company pancake mix in late 1889. 13 However, Doris Witt at University of Iowa was unable to confirm Marquette's account. 14 Witt suggests that Ruck might have witnessed a performance by the vaudeville performer Pete F. Baker, who played characters described in newspapers of that era as Ludwig and Aunt Jemima. His portrayal of the Aunt Jemima character may have been a white male in blackface, pretending to be a German immigrant, imitating a black minstrel parodying an imaginary black female slave cook. 14 Logo The original version of the current Aunt Jemima logo was designed by H. G. Miller, but he was unofficially credited. He also designed the original version of the current San Giorgio Pasta Company logo. Citation Nita James J. Jaffe, a freelance artist from the Bronx, New York, also designed one of the images of Aunt Jemima used by Quaker Oats to market the product into the mid-20th century. Just as the formula for the mix has changed several times over the years, so has the Aunt Jemima image been modified several times. In 1968, she was slimmed down from her previous appearance, depicting a more svelte look and wearing a white collar and geometric print headband still resembling her previous kerchief. 15-16 In 1989, as she marked her 100th anniversary, her image was again updated, with all head covering removed, revealing wavy, gray-streaked hair and gold-trimmed pearl earrings, and replacing her plain white collar with lace. At the time, the revised image was described as a move towards a more sophisticated depiction, with Quaker marketing the change as giving her a more contemporary look, and which remains on the products as of 2020. 15-16 Outside the United States, the character still has her original mammy personality in advertisements, and she is still referred to as the Aunt. 17 Idealization of plantation life. One interpretation is that Aunt Jemima embodied an early 20th century idealized domesticity that was inspired by old Southern hospitality. 18 There were others that capitalized on this theme, such as Uncle Ben's rice and cream of wheat's rastus. 19 The backdrop to the trademark image of Aunt Jemima is a romanticized view of antebellum plantation life. Citation needed. The myth surrounding Aunt Jemima's secret recipe, family life, and plantation life as a happy slave contributes to the post-Civil War idealism of Southern life and America's developing consumer culture. Citation needed. Early advertisements used an Aunt Jemima paper doll family as an advertising gimmick to sell the product. 18 Aunt Jemima is represented with her husband, Rastus, whose name was later changed to Uncle Mose to avoid confusion with the cream of wheat character, and their 5 children, Abraham, Lincoln, Dilsey, ZB, and Dinah. 18 The doll family was barefoot and dressed in tattered clothing, with the possibility to see them transform from rags to riches by buying another box with civilized clothing cutouts. 20 Reprinting on June 17, 2020, Quaker Oats announced that the Aunt Jemima brand would be replaced with a new name and image. 21 The news came only days after the parody newspaper The Onion had published a satirical article about a similar, but fictional, announcement. 22 The image will be removed from packaging later in 2020, while the name change will happen at a later date. 23 The African American Registry of the United States suggests Nancy Green and other individuals who played the caricature of Aunt Jemima should be celebrated in lieu of what has been widely condemned as a stereotypical and racist brand image. On Nancy Green's birthday, November 17, the registry wrote, "We celebrate the birth of Nancy Green in 1834. She was a black storyteller and one of the first black corporate models in the United States.